World War II is probably one of the most well-known and most discussed points of history ever, and with good reason. It happened in the last century, so there are many people alive who still live through it. The war also had a great impact on the world today. Many of the causes of the war were left over from World War I. Many countries' economies struggled after World War I, especially because of war debt. In 1929, the Great Depression began in America. This had a ripple effect and spread across the world. This economic depression led to fascist governments forming in Europe. In Italy, a man named Benito Mussolini was quickly gaining political support because Italians wanted someone who could fix the country's problems. Mussolini came to power and turned Italy into a fascist, totalitarian state where he was the absolute ruler. Similar things happened in other countries. In the Soviet Union, Joseph Stalin took power. He was a very cruel leader and sent many people to labor camps to die. Like Mussolini, Stalin made the Soviet Union a totalitarian state. However, he also made the Soviet Union a communist country. His goal was to spread communism throughout the whole world. The most infamous leader to come to power before World War II was Adolf Hitler. He was the leader of the Nazi Party and was largely supported by the German people because of his charisma and goals to revitalize Germany. He came to power and became the dictator of Germany. He was very anti-Semitist and used Jewish people as a scapegoat for Germany's problems. Hitler began to pass many laws that restricted the rights of Jewish people. They lost their businesses and homes and had to live in fenced-off ghettos. They were treated as subhuman. Soon, they were being taken away and sent to concentration camps where they were not intended to come out alive. Hitler's goal was to kill all of the Jews in the world. By the end of the war, 6 million Jews were killed in what is now known as the Holocaust. In the 1930s, the new governments that were formed in Europe were becoming increasingly aggressive, but nobody did anything about it. Germany, Italy, and Japan came together to form the Axis powers. Hitler also signed a treaty with Stalin, agreeing not to fight with each other, and in 1939, Germany invaded Poland, and this started World War II. Germany used blitzkrieg tactics, where they concentrated all of their forces on one place to apply extreme pressure. Hitler's army kept heading west through Europe, taking over many countries. Britain was having a hard time against Germany, and were constantly being bombarded. In June of 1941, Hitler broke he and Stalin's agreement and invaded the Soviet Union, bringing them into the war. Later that year, Japan bombed Pearl Harbor, officially bringing the United States into the war. With these two countries now involved in the war, the Allies were able to fight off the Axis powers. In June of 1944, the D-Day invasion of Normandy happened. This usually is regarded as the beginning of the end of the war. The next year, Germany surrendered. However, the Allies still had to fight Japan, who would not surrender. In order to make the Japanese surrender, the United States dropped an atomic bomb on the Japanese city of Hiroshima. They still did not surrender, and the U.S. dropped another bomb on the city of Nagasaki. These atomic bombs killed tens of thousands of people each. After this, Japan surrendered, and World War II was over. After the war, the United Nations was formed, with the goal of keeping peace in the world and preventing future conflict. The United Nations still exists today, and helps with many world issues, such as disease and natural disaster relief. However, the war ended with a staggering death toll. An estimated 85 million people were killed as a result from the war, which is about 3% of the total population at the time. Also, the Cold War began almost immediately after the war. During the war, tension was already building between the United States and the Soviet Union because of their extremely different political views. Even though World War II was very tragic, the Allies managed to win. If they didn't, things would have been much worse in the world.